Hello, everybody. It's me, your ex-boyfriend from high school that still shows up in your dreams randomly, T-Spoon. And today I am going to do something a little bit different. I'm going away for the weekend, and I am not going to have a video to go up on my main channel. So I decided that I wanted to at least do something that I could put up on the second channel. I'm trying to put more videos up on here anyway. And I, as you probably already know from the title and thumbnail of this video, am going to do a little bank video. I recently noticed that my bank value surpassed the 4 bill mark. Not that I really care or pay attention to that at all. As an Ironman, that doesn't really matter to me, but it was sort of a cool milestone, and I decided that I have been playing on this account for over 340 days of gameplay over the last, 3.5 years, and figured now would be a cool time to show you guys all the little things that I've collected that are just sort of sitting there because I don't really have a use for them, but are kind of cool. So, yeah, let's get into it. So right away, I'm just going to preface this by saying that some of my bank is organized, but a lot of it isn't. And I don't want to hear any of you in the comments complaining about how I organize things because, well, I don't really care. But actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Comments are good for engagement. Please go ahead and tell me about all of the ways that you would organize my bank that I haven't done. But anyways, right away, off the bat, over here in the just sort of general tab, first thing you see, obviously I have all of the things that I like to get at quickly. So I have my cast stack and my max cape, because obviously those are very important. And then basically just runes and teleports. That's the majority of the things on here. A lot of the runes came from my rune crafting grind where I was at ZMI, so just getting a lot of every rune. And then all the combination runes were mostly from Guardians of the Rift. And the blood runes were from AFKing blood runes at Zaya with blood essences. And so I have a very nice stack of pretty much every type of rune. The only one I really run out of is fire runes, really. And yeah, all the jewelry teleports over here. My glories, I do this thing where I basically want to only use one charge of glories so that I can go through them more efficiently. So when I do want to go for the Eternal Glory, it'll be a little bit easier. One annoying thing about going for the Eternal Glory on an Ironman is you have to use at least one charge from each glory in order to charge it again. So I basically just grab a 6 every time and then just keep a stack of 5s. And the rest of here is pretty self-explanatory, mostly just outfit pieces. So I got my Graceful, and then all of the diary stuff, again, mostly for teleports, and then just miscellaneous teleport stuff here below that. Moving on from there, I've got a bunch of food. Not that I really ever take out food from this page, but it just sort of looks cool. I have all of my skilling tools and then some skilling supplies. So obviously all of the ores, I got all of my gems, uncut and cut. And then this is where it sort of starts to take a little bit of a turn into just a bunch of garbage. Pretty much from this point onward, I don't really have any organizational reason for any of this junk being here. Most of this stuff is just I don't know, I might need it one day, but realistically, I don't know. I need to go through here and just accept that most of this stuff is never going to be useful for me and just drop or alch most of it. But some notable things, I mean, I have some alchables in here. Obviously I have these 13 pyramid tops. Every time I get the clue where you have to climb to the top of the agility pyramid, I take and keep the pyramid top for no apparent reason. And moving on from there, again, mostly just a bunch of junk that I don't care about. And the first actual tab in my bank is mostly just collection log stuff that I was required to get for the task spreadsheet or the wheel, and I don't really have any place for it. So a lot of, the big fish, all of the heads from the Slayer monsters. I have this extra enhanced crystal weapon seed because, well, I got 3 of them on my way to get 6 armor seeds. A lot of the outfit pieces and the bags and stuff, storage stuff, random Tazar stuff. More outfit pieces. Honestly, a lot of this stuff is kind of just, I had to get it. It's kind of boring, but, obviously it does have its uses. And moving on from there, it does get a little bit more interesting the farther I go, mostly because I kept these in fairly chronological order of when I got them, and I started doing more and more interesting things. So, for example, some Godsword shards. I have 2 Voidwaker pieces. Eventually, I do need to go back to the spider to get the gem to finish a Voidwaker, because that would be really nice. In fact, I kind of forgot about that. And now that I'm looking at it, maybe next time I get a boss task, I will try and prioritize that. And yeah, I got my double gilded pieces. Again, I'm wearing them right now, but that was pretty cool. A couple onyxes in there. And I need to be careful. I can't scroll down too far because there's some stuff that haven't been in a video yet that I don't exactly want to show you. I think I have to stop around there. And yeah, so again, mostly just stuff that I don't really use per se anywhere, just sort of had to get and don't really want to get rid of. And now probably the most important / impressive tab in my bank is my actual gear tab. Again, this is pretty disorganized. I plan on fixing this at some point, but for now, this is what it looks like. I have my little melee section up here, my little range section, and then all of my mage stuff, and then just a bunch of utility stuff down there that we'll get to. Obviously, I use pretty much the same setup for like everything. I have my melee gear and armor in here, and then a couple rows of weapons that I can choose from. Same thing with range. Most of the time, I just end up using my crystal and my bofa, but occasionally I do use some other things. And then mage, obviously there's a bit more of a selection of a mage staves and weapons and whatnot, but most of my mage gear is right there. And I'm not really, obviously you see all this in the video, so I'm not really going to go through all the stuff that I use regularly. In fact, that's kind of the opposite point of this video. I kind of want to go through some of the less used stuff that I just have sort of sitting there. And most of this stuff you either see all the time or, I don't know, just really isn't that important or impressive. But if you do care, this is what my gear tab looks like. This is probably the bank tab that I want to organize the most. A lot of this was just sort of thrown in there as I got new stuff, replacing the old stuff that I had before it. And it kind of led to this sort of just patchwork conglomeration of crap. But at some point I'll fix all this. But yeah, again, like I said, a lot of this stuff, like, I don't know, I'm never going to use a lot of this God D'hide stuff anymore. I've just got better options. I don't really use Moon's gear very much. All this Barrow's gear, I could probably just, like, okay, I don't know. There's lots of stuff in here that I definitely do not need, but there is my gear tab. Moving on from there, my next tab is basically just clue stuff. I got all my caskets and my scroll boxes and stuff that I only ever need for clues, which turns out, because of the existence of stash units, is not very many things. So that tab is kind of boring. So we will move right along to the next tab. The next tab I use basically as like whatever current skill I'm doing, and I want to have a nice little convenient place to put all the items that I need, which then turned into just sort of a storage for like processed materials. So obviously I got all my planks, my bars, I got some logs, some fletching stuff, 4,200 amethyst in case I ever need that. And yeah, again, this tab, not super interesting, basically just wherever I put the current skilling activity that I'm doing. And yeah, there's a bunch of maple logs from Kingdom, a bunch of redwood logs from when I couldn't really play the game and it was just AFKing for the beaver pet. I got all of my bars, which I actually went through a lot of these bars making dart tips with the rune and adamant, and then I used the steel for cannonballs. That's why I have all this mithril, because I never really used it for anything. But yeah, at this point, because obviously I am 99 in everything, I don't really use the skilling tab as much. This mostly just accumulates different pieces of material goods, but yeah, kind of cool to just see the stacks grow. Now, the next tab is actually something that I have been working on for a long time now. I kind of stopped doing farm runs and herb runs entirely for a while there because I just didn't really need them. And that was probably a mistake. And so recently I have been trying to work on doing all of my herb runs. So the next tab is my farming tab. I have all these trees that I basically don't bother with at all because I don't really care about post 99 experience as of right now. At some point I may, but mostly this is just for keeping all my seeds. I don't really like to use the seed vault because I don't like to have to go to the farming guild to start my farm runs. At some point I may end up just throwing it all in there so that I make some bank space, but for now, this is where I keep all of my farming stuff. And again, I use this tab more than anything, where I just basically put all of the seeds in priority order of what I want to farm, and then I just kind of work my way from top left to bottom right as I go. And yeah, this is my farm tab. Not really much to see here, honestly. I've done a pretty good job at working down the seed stacks. If you were to look at this like 3 months ago, all of these stacks would have been at like 200 or 300. I recently went through and actually made a bunch of potions, which you're going to see in the next tab, which we might as well just do right now. So this is the Herblore tab. And as you're going to see here, I actually just made a bunch of these potions. I had to take out all of these potions from my potion store because apparently it doesn't count this value towards this number up here. And I wanted this to be at 4 build. So I took out all of my potions to put them in here to artificially inflate this tab. So just ignore that. But I recently went through and made all of the potions that I had available to make. So you can now see, and also not only that, but now you can see how many potions I have of each thing in a bit more of a digestible number. Seeing it in here as like doses is kind of hard to comprehend how many potions that actually is, but as you can see, you know, I'm pretty set for now. 4,100 prayer pots, 6,300 super restores, 3,600 super combats. I mean, 4,500 brews. I got enough potions to last me for a really long time, which is very nice. And not only that, but I actually still have a lot of the secondaries, and like I said, I am still farming through a bunch of my seeds, so I'll be able to make even more potions in the near future. But yeah, this is the Herblore tab. Now, this tab is also sort of a skilling tab. This kind of started off as an alchable tab. I had all my rune and adamant stuff that I needed to alch at some point. But then I started doing Giant's Foundry and using the armor pieces for Giant's Foundry. So these, although they started off as alchables, ended up being more like skilling stuff. And then I was doing some other skills like rune crafting and regular crafting, which I just ended up putting all of the stuff in here. So I have all my battle staff stuff, my rune crafting stuff, my bowstrings, my dragonhide armor pieces, some clay, and then I was doing some cooking, so I have my grapes and jugs of water and my raw fish, and then I was doing some prayer, so I had the sunfire splinters and all of my prayer bones, and now the demon tears are in here because they were sort of similar to sunfire splinters. I don't really know what this tab's for. I don't really go here much. This is, we don't really think about this tab. And lastly, but certainly not least, this is sort of the current whatever I'm working on tab, which has ended up being just a lot of like really rare stuff. So I have my crystal keys, which I've been turning into enhanced crystal keys to try and get the dragonstone armor. I have my moon keys, which I have been AFKing loop halves at shooting stars anytime I need to AFK, just doing shooting stars in Varlamore to hopefully one day end up with a moon helmet. And then my bird's eggs for the evil chicken pieces. So although this tab is kind of small, this is basically, I just put whatever I'm currently working on and need a bank tab for in here. So yeah, that's it. That is my whole bank. Personally, I think my favorite part about playing an Ironman is the bank aspect of it. It's so cool to see everything you do sort of accumulate in one spot. It's really easy on a main to do an activity and then you end up just selling off everything that you either gained from it or you have left over from it. And you kind of just buy it, sell it, and then forget that it ever happened. Whereas something cool about playing on an Ironman is like, I can see individual stacks of items and remember when I got them and what I was doing and what the point of them were. So for example, I can see my nearly 50,000 stack of Karambwans. I remember doing that when I was going for 99 fishing. Same with the anglerfish. Or I can go and look at, for example, like I said, my redwood log stacks. And I can remember when I was having computer issues. Maybe I don't want to remember this one, but I can remember when I was having my computer issues and I didn't want to do anything because it was constantly crashing. And so I was just AFKing at redwood logs or, you know, all these various stacks of things, all these items. I mean, this is the main reason I keep this tab at all, is just being able to look through and remember all of the things that I did. Oh, I can't scroll down there. All of the things that I did to get all of these items and all of the joys and pains of the grinds that I did, getting 3 duplicate Dagonhide pieces before getting either of the other ones, you know, getting whatever it is, just being able to see all of the progress that you make throughout your account is so cool, and the main reason that I actually enjoy playing this Ironman. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bank video. I have now been inspired to go and clean up and organize my bank a little bit because I did not realize how messy it had actually gotten, but hopefully you guys enjoyed looking through there with me, and like I said, there should be a video up next week on the main channel. And other than that, I'll see you guys soon.